Miguelito, he's a good man. Sometimes he just makes bad decisions. I tell him, Mijito, cuidado, be careful. You might hurt someone. He doesn't listen.
Until you stop, okay?
Hello.
It's me.
I'm Hijo, where are you?
Dale was drinking and driving. I need you to come and get me, okay? Please, Grandma?
Can you just come and get me? Grandma?
Leave him in jail.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View.
The OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Well, you thought coaching season was over, huh? The whole movement, the carousel, all that stuff. Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. And I promise you the talk about it is not over. Not when the owner, the most high-profile owner in the game, says he's a friend and I like him. I want to make it real clear. I wouldn't have any problem working with him. Good morning to you, and Merry Wednesday. It is your opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, DC. Thanks for being with us on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. How you living?
What to do?
What's going on over there? You good?
We good.
Right.
Bright and early, ready to go.
How was the travel to the West Coast?
No problems whatsoever. Nice, clean travel day. Good afternoon work, and ready to click it into gear this morning. You
got an early game, right? What time you tipping off over there, right here on the Sports Animal?
So noon Mountain Time tip off today.
Against San Jose State. And then you'll be back in time for the game tonight at the Pit, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
A little doubleheader on a Wednesday.
All right. Well, it's game day for both Lobo men and women. Lobo men will be in the Pit tonight, 8:30 start, Boise State. Interesting night in the Mountain West last night, and we'll get through that. We'll get through the Lobos and what they've got to do. JJ, you said it's all about this month. It's all about January getting through unscathed. And their last, this is the last day of the month, right? So I guess this is it, getting through today. We'll get through that. I want to start off in the NFL. So certainly surprised, and I think you probably were, most people were. Ben Johnson did not take one of those jobs, and more specifically, take the job of the Washington Commanders. Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, and he was the guy that he was this year's hottest assistant, right? He was on everybody's list, and he told the Commanders that he is going to stay with Detroit for next year. He's 37 years old. He's been the offensive coordinator for the Lions for the last 2 seasons. They're really good, and everybody was interested in him. Now, evidently, his asking price spooked some teams. The bottom line is, JJ, this is the one that, out of all of them, because everybody waited, right? Waited till they were done, waited till he was available. Are you surprised as I am that he didn't take a job?
I am. I'm very surprised that he didn't take a job. I thought, he was going to be the number one offensive coordinator available. And then for the Detroit Lions, this is absolutely a game changer. That they get to keep their offensive coordinator. It's an offense that, under Ben Johnson, the last 2 years, finished top 5 in points. We saw just how good they were this entire season with the young pieces, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. And when you're trying to run it back and take that next step, coordinators are such a huge part of this process. And I keep thinking back to what we saw last year with Philadelphia and how rough it was for the Eagles the last 8 weeks of the season. The team had a lot of issues. They were going through multiple people trying to call that defense, as their offensive and defense coordinators both left to take head coaching jobs before the season starts. So this is huge for Detroit, because the Detroit Lions are in position to not just be the second best team in the NFC, but they will be competing for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC next year.
I think that's right, and I think it's really big. And you hit it kind of on the head. I think you saw what happened with Philadelphia. It's not, oh, we'll be back next year. We had this conversation yesterday, and I thought Merton Hanks, the former 49er, the Super Bowl champion with the Niners, I thought he said it so perfectly. It's so hard to get back. And Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, said after the game, we know how hard it is to get here, and it's going to be twice as hard to get back. And so when I say what happened with the Eagles were the NFC champions last year. They lose both, as you said, both coordinators. And what happened to them at the end of the year? You made a comment yesterday, which at first I shrugged off, and it really stuck with me all day. And you're right. You said by the end of the year, the Eagles might have been one of the worst teams. Right? Did you say that? By the end of the season? Yeah. And at first I'm like, what are you talking about? But you're right. You're right. By the end of the year, they might have been one of the worst teams. And I think it's directly due to the coordinator. And you see what they just did. They just hired Nick Fangio as their defensive coordinator in Philly, Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. So everybody's making moves. And I guess the head coach is the guy that you see every day. The head coach is the guy at the press conference. The head coach, the coordinators are the key, aren't they, in this league?
They are, and I think we are all just learning more and more about how important these guys are in the game. Because there's certain head coaches that you look at and you figure out this guy is going to be fine regardless. And it's like Andy Reid and that Kansas City offense, even though we talked about Eric Bieniemy all those years. And other guys that we view as defensive coaches, like look at Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. We don't talk about their offense coordinators, the teams that we just think, oh, those guys run the offense. But in other situations, they are so important, and we're seeing that across the board. And it's also the reason why we go into these hiring cycles and we're like, who's this guy? Who's that guy? It's because they're good offensive and defensive coordinators that get these jobs because, as you just said, it's just as important as the head coach.
All right, let's talk head coaches. Owners and Cowboys. Where was Jerry when he made all these comments? I saw the comments. I didn't know where he was. Is he at? They just found him somewhere. Did they just do a media gaggle? Like, do you know where he was? Was there some sort of scheduled event?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. 2 weeks ago, Jerry Jones issued a statement, and it was a statement.
I was at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, is that where it was? Because he's the GM and he needs to go scout. No, I understand that, right? All right, he issued a statement that Mike McCarthy, his head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, was coming back. 5th year. Yesterday at the Senior Bowl, Jerry Jones was asked specifically about Bill Belichick, who appears is not going to get a job. And by all accounts, is going to be on TV. And I'm interested to see how he's going to be on TV because every time he's on TV, it's pretty grumpy. Yeah, well, I mean, we're on to Cincinnati. Right? I mean, we'll see. Yahoo Sports, Jory Epstein said that, quote, this is quote from Belichick. I'm sorry, from Jerry Jones on Belichick. Jerry said, I know him personally. I like him. There's no doubt in my mind we could work together. None. We all know he's certainly excellent, maybe at the top of his profession. To say that any one person automatically assures you a Super Bowl is ridiculous. That's too high an expectation, but I could certainly work with him. JJ, I don't know how you read this. And then he says he's a friend and I like him and I want to make real clear I wouldn't have any problem working with him. I'm Mike McCarthy. I'm on blast, right? I mean that's you're on blast. And I won't be surprised if it's
putting lighter fluid on his seat. We already knew that Mike McCarthy felt like he was going to be under the most scrutiny of any coach going into next season. And then all of a sudden, Jerry Jones just starts talking about how he could work with Bill Belichick, how it could be buddy-buddy with Big Bill. And it doesn't look like Bill Belichick's going to be getting the Commanders job or Seahawks job. So it looks like he's just going to be sitting out there in the shadows, hovering over any team with expectations that gets off to a rough start. And you're like, could this happen? Could they do that? They don't usually do this in the NFL, but that is all the talk. If the Cowboys struggle, start 2-3, anything like that, to be about these comments.
I think I said a couple weeks ago, would he be in? You don't see this in the NFL. You see it in other sports, right? The Bucks just did it, brought Doc Rivers out of the TV booth. Typically in the NFL, when you see someone fired, when a team makes a change at head coach in season, almost always, right? Almost always, they stay in-house. Well, that guy's our interim for the rest of the year. And I said this a couple weeks ago. I see the scenario. I absolutely see the scenario where the Cowboys start off, hell, it could be 4-2. And he calls in the lefty and goes to the bullpen, and here comes Bill Belichick. I absolutely could see that.
Yeah, it's not a crazy scenario. And at this point in time, with the pressure that Jerry Jones is feeling, looking at just the uncertainty of this offseason too. I know that he said Mike McCarthy's coming back, but they have to make an adjustment to Dak Prescott's contract, so they're going to have to commit a few more years to him. And I know that's going to be a very polarizing topic for Cowboy fans and talking about Dak Prescott and him getting more money without the playoff success to this point in time. And then this story that was not going to go away, because I think a lot of us were actually shocked that he didn't make that move and he stuck with Mike McCarthy for one more year, but he's putting it out there that, hey, I could work with this guy.
I think that's right.
See what happens.
All right, Dak's the other issue. And when we come back, what do you do with Dak and his contract? What Jerry had to say about that at the Senior Bowl, because that's a big piece of the puzzle as well. We'll do that when we come back. We'll talk Lobo basketball. Big one tonight in the pit. Lobos ranked 19th in the country, taking on Boise State tonight, 8:30 late-night game out at University Arena. When we come back, though, we'll get into Dak's contract, what they will do, what they should do, and how they're going to get there. Winter continues to be a part of your life right now. It is just going to be February. You still got some storms. Your car looks like crud, doesn't it? I got it. The dirt, the mud, the road salt, it's all stuck to your car. Stuff inside. I got a solution. It's my friends at On the Spot Automotive Detailing. They can help you keep your car clean, not just this winter, but in the spring and the summer as well. You're going to tell me you don't have the time, and I get it. And I don't have the time either. You don't need the time, because they will come to you wherever it's convenient, whenever it's convenient, and they will detail your vehicle inside and outside and under the hood and under the seats and around the rims. When they're done, it looks and it feels and it smells like the day you took it off the lot. Remember how fun it was when you just got that new car to drive it? You can get that new car feel without getting a new car. And On the Spot Automotive, best in the city for 2023, because they're reliable, they're efficient, they're the best at what they do. Book online, buy online. Great Valentine's gift, boys and girls. This will be a winner. Go to otsdetailing.com. That's otsdetailing.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
Who in the National Football League? It's the Cowboys, right? Bears, maybe?
The Bears are fascinating. Leading up to the draft, they'll be fun.
But it's the Cowboys, right? Because there's always something going on, and their owner is the guy that, again, do you know what the Bears owner's voice sounds like? Or the Panthers, or the Vikings owner, or the Lions owner? Any of those? Do you know what that owner sounds like?
Not at all.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, the next one's quarterback. So you have Jerry Jones was out yesterday. Senior Bowl, he meets with the media, does a gaggle, and basically opens the door for Bill Belichick. He's my friend, and I'd love to work with him, and I'd have no problem. It'd be great. What about quarterback? And a Cowboy fan, you've got your feeling on your quarterback. You've got a good quarterback. Do you have the guy? And JJ, look, I want to start this way. Is the conversation about Dak different, or is it the exact same about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Should he be considered the same way that we have the conversation, whether you're killing those guys, whether you're defending those guys, whatever? Is the conversation, is he different? If so, why?
I think right now Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen have people believe in them more. Because it's as simple as, for like Josh Allen, it's outside of his first season, he's won a playoff game every year that he's gone to the playoffs. Lamar Jackson was in the AFC Championship game now, as they had to win in Houston and start that run. And I think that, Dak Prescott, there's a belief that he's not the guy that can win you even 2 playoff games to get to a championship game.
All right, so he is treated different. And he's older, right? Dak's 30. Those guys are 26-ish, I think is the numbers. Dak is probably going to get some sort of an extension. Okay? Jerry was asked about Dak. Quote, Dak has done nothing to change my mind about any promise for the future. I think I've said in the deal that we will go as far as Dak takes us in the playoffs. Remember that. We'll go as far as Dak takes us. And that's how far we went. So my point is, that doesn't change a thing. We'll go as far as Dak takes us, and cut. Right? End quote. The Cowboys are about, and we'll get the number, but about $19 million over the salary cap for next year. So they got to lower his This is how crazy the whole cap thing is. To lower his cap hit, they got to give him an extension to pay him more money, right? Essentially, because it'll spread it out over next year, other years. But so they basically need to extend him, or that would be the easiest way to get him under the cap, to get it lower. And this is where we start running into the issue. An average salary probably for an extension for Dak is $50 million. That is a top flight quarterback. That is, I mean, what's Mahomes making? Somewhere in that area, right? That's Joe Burrow money. Is he that guy? And I think most Cowboy fan is saying he's not that guy. But it doesn't matter. It's not your money, right? So what does Jerry think? And that's what it comes down to. JJ, are they going to? I mean, is he going to be a $50 million a year quarterback?
Well, if we're sitting here and we were talking about a story yesterday saying that it's going to take $45 million a year to sign Kirk Cousins. Like
that's what Kirk Cousins is going to want again.
But that's right. Out there in the market, and that's going to be negotiating tactics for the quarterbacks against the teams. So would you take, let's just say, a 3-year contract extension for Dak Prescott, maybe around $150 million, or 2 years, $90 million for Kirk Cousins?
What's option 3?
Then option 3,
Cooper Rush and drafting a quarterback. Trey Lance? Is Trey Lance?
Trey Lance is in that building. And does that put pressure on Dak Prescott?
Yeah, let's have the Trey Lance conversation. Because nobody is. And I'll tell you, the fact that nobody is makes me realize he's just not the dude, right? They've seen him. They've got him in the building. The Niners decided he's not the dude. He's been there long enough. Because if they thought he was the dude, they've got the option. Now, Jerry falls in love with these quarterbacks. He did with Romo, right? I mean, he just flat out falls in love with these quarterbacks, and it's like, well, I'm going to pay him. And I kind of feel like that's where we are with Dak, that he is going to prove to you that he made the right call, that he didn't make a mistake, that he did the right thing. And this is where, if I'm a Cowboy fan, and I'm not, but if I was a Cowboy fan, this is where it would frustrate me so much. Any other GM gets held accountable because he's got a boss. This GM doesn't because he doesn't have a boss. He is the boss. There's a stubbornness there. I'm going to be right. And I'm going to show you I'm right. And it may take me 15 damn years. But right, they may get there when Dak is 36 years old, and it's see, I told you he was going to get us to a Super Bowl, and I firmly believe there's a piece of that in this. I think that's part of why he's stuck with McCarthy.
Yeah,
you think the stubbornness is overrated by me?
No, I don't think you can when there's the history of Jerry Jones ownership and what we've seen. But this is one where I think there's. Extending Dak Prescott is not a bad thing. Like, having a good quarterback in this league is a very good thing. A quarterback that can win you double-digit football games. And I know it's about playoff performance. And so many people are listening to this. Cowboy fans are just out. Like, you're dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. Why would you extend Dak Prescott? Because I still want good quarterbacks who can win football games in this league. The playoffs, it's so wild. But the lasting impression we're going to have is Dak Prescott and the Cowboys underperforming as a team, by the way, against the Green Bay Packers. And it's very similar. I know it's to Lamar Jackson. It's like, are we just going to judge this dude off the last playoff game and think that he can't get back there? But I know there's been an extended history with Dak Prescott not winning a game, not having that same postseason success. But if I'm Jerry Jones, I look at it too and say, you're all in for this season. There's nothing out there right now that's a better option than Dak Prescott, unless one of those things we're flirting is, do they somehow, some way get into a trade for a top 3 quarterback? But then who's that coming from? Is Washington interested in Dak Prescott? Are the New England Patriots interested in Dak Prescott? Because the Bears, number 1, are not taking him back.
Right. All right. So, a couple things. I would not be totally adverse if you said we're going to extend him. Okay. I mean, I you know where I am on it. I think he's taken you as far as he can take you. He's a good quarterback, and I want to have a plan. So before I get rid of him, I want to have a plan. What's better? What is it? Kirk Cousins? Is it Trey Lance? Is it the draft? What is it? But if you tell me, all right, I want to extend him, I don't even know that I have a huge problem with it. I guess I'm struggling with how am I extending him and making him one of the top paid quarterbacks in the league? That's where at $50 million a year, that's where I'm struggling. If you want to tell me, and I know this sounds silly, and it's hard for common folk like us to just fathom these numbers. At $40 million, I can kind of stomach it. Does that sound stupid?
No, there's ways that you can make this deal where it's higher guaranteed money early, signing bonuses, and you get to say it's a 3-year extension, but technically it's like a void year at the end. There's a lot of ways to structure this. Like Dak Prescott's going to get paid. People are going to be upset about the amount of money he's going to get paid. But it comes down to you need to extend your quarterback so you can have more flexibility to put a better team around said quarterback.
All right, Cowboy fan, let's go. 505-246-0610. You can get in on this. What do you do? And I know you're everywhere. Cowboy fan, here's your deal. You're over the cap. The crazy part of this is, how do you get under the cap? You pay your quarterback more and you extend him because you're spreading the money out over the years, and so you can do more. Or do you want to just move on? Dak's a good quarterback. Dak's not getting you where you want to be. Cowboy fan, the number is 505-246-0610. That is the text line. That is the phone line. What do you want to do with Dak? You can send an email, jeff@sportsanimalabq.com, jj@sportsanimalabq.com, and let's listen to it, because I'm really interested on where you're going with this and what do you want. You heard Jerry yesterday. Jerry talked about somebody else as a coach after he just gave your coach the faith talk. And now, what do you do at quarterback? 505-246-0610. All right, when we get back, the kicker. The idiot kicker. Well, this isn't really the idiot kicker, but it's the kicker who tried to get under Patrick Mahomes' skin before the game. The kicker and sidekick came to the rescue. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Jr. Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Now going on with the Cowboys is not bringing in a coach that can actually center and ground the team in a place that's always going to be a media circus. They always want to, Jerry Jones wants to be the most popular kid in school, not the most skilled or the best, but the most popular. But you need somebody like a Belichick or a Vrabel to kind of ground that team, and I think that would really take a lot of the pressure off of Dak so he could, not have to feel so much pressure in those situations. You're not going to have many Mahomes and Brady's that can come in there and do that. So that's where I'm at with the team. I'm kind of frustrated. I don't know how much I'm going to follow them next year because I just feel like it's a dysfunctional franchise right now, not making a coaching change. So
That's really good.
I feel like Troy Aikman, that's why he retired. Troy Aikman said, I didn't retire because of concussions. I retired because of the dysfunction that was happening in this team. He just couldn't, the expectations were not where he wanted them to be. So why
It's been going on for 2 decades.
So
No, it's good, Chad. Thanks for the call. That's really good. Cowboy fan, how do you feel about that? Are you feeling like Chad? Look, the most interesting thing I just heard right there, I don't know how much I'm going to follow him next year, right? He said, I'm a Cowboy fan, but they're dysfunctional. It's interesting. So if someone else was in there to quiet some of the noise, what Chad, and I'm going to kind of interpret it the way I heard it, a stronger leader who would absorb some of it or at least quiet some of it, push some of it out because it's a circus. Would that help Dak? I don't know, man. He was pretty good day to day. He was pretty good.
He had no problem in the regular season. Putting up
Right.
numbers, winning games, and it got to the playoffs. And that's what it's hard for me when I look at the Cowboys' consistency over the last few years. And I know the playoff success hasn't been there. And I'm like, and things are louder in the postseason, but it's like, how do you win 12 games in an NFL season and then get to the playoffs and things are a distraction, things are too loud? Because when you're a Cowboy fan and you've been living it day to day for however long Jerry Jones has owned this team, that's your number one narrative is, Jerry Jones, once he's gone, things are going to be different. But I just look at the last few years and things have been different. They've drafted well. Like, they've built a good football team. And then so that's where, not being a Cowboy fan, I just can't 100% jump on, well, it's Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Jones' fault in the postseason and nowhere else. Like, when they set themselves up to be the number 2 seed in the NFC, and I get it, the Lions game back and forth could have been number 3, whatever, but still to have a home game in the playoffs and then that's where it collapses.
To your point, you would almost think that they'd be more prepared than anybody else when you hit the playoffs and the noise increases, right? Because they're living in that cesspool, and I say that, but they're living in that noise dome all year, right? There's all this extra mess around them all year. You would almost think that they're more adapt to it when it hits the postseason. Everything ratchets up round by round by round, right? And they're not. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the reason Dak Prescott played poorly against the Packers is because of the noise. I don't know that. I don't. All I know is he played poorly against the Packers, right? When it's and this is why I landed where I did with Dak, and it's not a 1-year thing. It's a 5-year, 6-year, whatever it is now. Okay, he is great again, and I know this is a popular narrative, and I know people think it's cliche, but there's a reason he got here. He's great against the Giants and the Commanders and the Panthers. Yeah, so is everybody, man. What happens when it really matters?
Yeah,
and if you are who you want to be, or you want to be who you claim you are, you just have to be better than that in those moments. And to me, there's a big enough sample size that I would at least consider what options are.
Yeah, that's a path that I would go down more so right now than just trying to blame everything on Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Is looking at Dallas and games versus winning teams. And sometimes, that's hard because the Miami Dolphins are that same exact team this year.
Yes.
And so if you're like one of those franchises, do you want us to apologize for it? It's like, no, but then you have to take that next step in the postseason.
You got to get better.
Just shut everyone else up.
Yeah.
About your record versus winning teams.
You just got to get better, right? Whatever that means, you have to get better. And look, Jerry is an asset, and Jerry is a problem. Both things can be true. Jerry is a great owner to the point where he will spend money. He will, right? He'll back the people that he loves, Romo, Dak, right? Is he a great football guy? And I'm gonna, one thing I push back on a little bit is, well, you got to hire a football guy. At what point do you become a football guy? He's been a GM for 20-something years. Like he made his money elsewhere. And I've always felt, hire somebody, come in that knows football better. But at this point, 20-something years in, dude, he should be pretty good at this, shouldn't he?
I think he has an idea of what to do.
He should be. But, and this is where you are. Like, if you had, I don't know, give me a great, who's a great GM? Is Les Snead a great GM? Who's a great player personnel guy?
And a lot of them, we don't know their names.
Right. Okay. Would that help the Cowboys if he brought somebody in and tasked them with stocking the roster? Which, by the way, is what Parcells didn't want. If you want me to cook the meal, you better let me shop for the groceries, right? Would they be better? If somebody else stocked the roster, would they be better?
At this point, I don't even think it's not a talent problem.
I think that's right.
When you look at this recent draft history and getting Micah Parsons in the first round. And we're not talking about number 1 overall picks. Like, Micah Parsons was 10-12, CeeDee Lamb, mid-teens. You look at what they've done in that secondary, just even the offseason acquisitions, but Diggs, Deron Bland, they've done a pretty good job. And I think that's where the frustration is this is just a regular season juggernaut that doesn't have the track record against good teams, and you need to be able to make the tough decisions. But, the Dak Prescott one is one where I go back and forth on, because you can't just get caught up with being okay. You can't just get caught up in doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. But in this exact moment, I'm looking at this offseason versus what Dallas could do in the draft. Like, their best option is extending Dak Prescott and then running it out there one more time and seeing what happens.
All right, you're all over the text line. So this one says, when Jerry Jones dies, things are not going to change. All his son is a younger version of him, equally as arrogant and determined to be right, and equally as unlikely to even hear criticism of what he does. When his dad dies, he'll be just as rich as his dad, just as inept as his dad, and having the same "I'm rich, so I'm right" attitude. Man, I think I'm done being a Cowboy fan. Geriatric ownership can't keep their hands out of the team or pay someone who knows what they're doing. He should be, but he clearly is not. So that was all from the same number. And then this one says, my, too much Cowboy talk. Sincerely, a Dallas hater. P.S. also a Raider and Bear hater, as well as a Raven disliker. Likely Jerry Jones is hitting his marketing. I don't know what that means. And then this one says, Super Bowl upcoming, Lobos ranked number 19 and have a home game tonight, and we're talking about the bleeping Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. All right.
It's almost like we have multiple segments in a 3-hour show.
Yeah, I know. This one says, I have to disagree with this caller. Good quarterbacks deal with the pressure and still excel. Okay. Well, you guys are all over it. A couple pages worth of it already today on the text line. You think Mahomes isn't feeling pressure? You think Brock Purdy isn't feeling pressure? But they overcome it and perform and get where they need to get. And you're right. And that's my point on that. Then why are we having such a problem? This one says, you're not wrong about Jerry Jones at all. His BS is going to make me become a Detroit Lions fan. Yep. Well, that's why we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, because you guys are coming in big numbers. All right, did you see the story? Mahomes and Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker? The kicker? Yeah, Mahomes and Justin Tucker evidently had a little something before the game. So Mahomes said Justin Tucker is trying to get under our skin. Evidently the kicker was interfering with Patrick Mahomes' routine. Now, I don't know what his routine is and why his routine, because he's Patrick Mahomes, somehow is more important than Justin Tucker's routine. But Mahomes said, I've had 7 years of doing that same warm-up routine. And there's only been like 3 occasions where there's been a kicker that wasn't moving out of the way. And all 3 were Justin Tucker and Baltimore. So Tucker stretches. He's got equipment and footballs in this area where evidently Mahomes was getting loose before the game. And there's video of Mahomes throwing Tucker's kicking tees out of the way. And evidently Travis Kelce came over and kicked it because he said, can you move? And Tucker moved it like 3 inches, right? And so Kelce, sidekick, came over and kicked the footballs and threw his helmet away from where Mahomes was warming up, which, by the way, great enforcer. Like, that's Marty McSorley kind of stuff, right? Hockey enforcer stuff. Mahomes said, quote, he does that to get under our skin. I asked him to move his stuff. He got up and moved it, I think 2 inches, but didn't move it out of the way. I was going to let it slide, but Travis moved it for me, and after that, I wasn't going to let him put it back down. I kind of love it.
And Justin Tucker is one of those kickers that he can do that.
Like the only one?
The best kicker in the NFL. Been there, done that for a long time, and you're like, the kicker's really getting at it? Yeah, you're getting a little pettiness before the game. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, like, this is something that It's so small where it's not going to be some like, oh my gosh, big story, but it's like just enough. Where Justin Tucker was answering questions about it yesterday, it became just a little bit of a story, and those are the things you're looking for pregame instead of brawling at midfield. Just those little, you want me to get out of your way? Okay, one step.
And here comes Kelsey. Yeah. Get the hell out of here, kicker. I don't care who you are. The opera singing kicker. Scram. I'd love to know if that's where Tucker is all the time. That's a piece I've been digging for. I just don't see it. All right, when we get back, big one tonight. Lobos ranked 19th in the country. Here comes Boise State. This is a pretty big game in the Mountain West. And I'll explain why it's bigger than just another home game against a good team. We'll do that when we come back. Fellas, how you feeling? Not great? Fatigued? Less energetic than you want to be or than you used to be? Turn the page. Call New Male Medical Center. At New Male, they specialize in your health, in men's health. They offer cutting-edge treatments for fatigue, for low testosterone, for erectile dysfunction. Their expert team is dedicated to helping you feel better so you can feel energetic and confident and at your best again. And whether that means restoring your youthful vigor, tackling hair loss, or restoring the passion. New Male's personalized treatments are designed just for you. So don't let another day go by feeling less than your best. You can join thousands of men all over the country who have transformed their lives with New Male. It's confidential, it's comprehensive, and it's about you. Ready to discover you or rediscover you? NewMaleMedical.com is where you can find them. They're on NewMaleMedical.com or 505-652-1688. You can schedule your private consultation today. 505-652-1688. New Male Medical Center. Feel young, feel energetic, feel new.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like this, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin.
And Fresno State won in Vegas. Vegas beat Fresno State in Thomas and Mack. It's hard, man. It's hard on the road. Ask North Carolina. They went to Georgia Tech, number 3 in the country, got beat by an unranked team last night. It's hard on the road. This is a big one. We're going to get into it coming up in the next hour. Let's go to the phones at 505-246-0610. Manny wants to talk about the Lobos, the Cowboys. Good morning, Manny. How you living?
Good morning, guys. Good morning. JJ, good luck up there, man. Go Lady Lobos and go V&A Cumber. Big game tonight, Jeff. Big game tonight here at the pit, man. Got to take care of business. I think I think we can get them pretty easy if we keep doing what we're doing, obviously. But I wanted to talk about the Cowboys. And coming from I'm a Redskin fan, Jeff, you know, and I have no room to talk, obviously. My team is garbage. But the Cowboys won the same amount of playoff games as my Redskins did this year.
That would be 0. That would be none.
Be safe.
See you. No, he's right. Look, and that's like the easiest joke, right? I mean, everybody won. So did you and I won as many playoff games as the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys have become a butt of a lot of jokes.
Of course. It's you know, with the amount of attention they get, you know, we spend a couple segments talking about the Dallas Cowboys because their owner made some news and comments about Bill Belichick, and people are either interested in it or immediately like, hey, there's other things to talk about. Why are you discussing the Dallas Cowboys on this day at this time with everything that's going on? And one of the things that I saw just pop across the screen, because we're not the only ones talking about the Dallas Cowboys, that you look at the last 4 playoff games, Dak Prescott 1-3, but 2 of those 3 losses have been at home. And that is something that hurts you even more. Because when you're losing those games at home, and then there's going to be no way, like, unless they get to the NFC Championship game like next year, like this 2 seed getting blown out by the Packers, the 7 seed at home, Jordan Love looking like that is going to linger for a long time.
Text line, you guys are buying into the hype. It's a talent problem. Cowboys are not as good as the media thinks they are. They never are. Yeah, but is it a full talent problem? There's been years where I flat out totally agree with that. There's been years where I think you're 100% right. They're just not as good as people say they are. And then I look at what they were this year. Defensively, they should have been way better. Dan Quinn, it's the greatest thing ever. They got a quarterback who people were screaming MVP at me in November. They got one of the best receivers in the league, a good young tight end, a guy that you told me was going to be a really good running back. I don't know if it was all hype, dude. Now, I think a lot of times their talent is overhyped. But I'm not sure that I totally agree. All right, when we get back, I want to dive into some thoughts on tonight. How the Lobos will beat Boise State. Leon Rice was very gracious when talking about the Lobos in the pit. Big one tonight, boys and girls. Let's go. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madmen home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This
Afternoon, right here on The Sports Animal. Lobo women are on the road in San Jose. Good morning to you and Merry Wednesday, final day of January 2024. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, and DC. JJ, this is from John Rothstein. He is a pretty well-respected college basketball voice. His tweet this morning, New Mexico is one of the most aesthetically pleasing teams in college basketball and averaging a whopping 91.2 points per game during its current 5-game win streak. Boise State visits the Pit tonight. Appointment TV. People are noticing, man. And this fan base is in. I was at dinner last night with some people from around the country and asking about Lobo basketball. They've noticed. This is, I don't know what back means, okay? You guys tell me, you define it however you want. But it feels like Lobo basketball has a real opportunity to be back. Back would mean getting into the tournament, making a little noise to me, right?
Absolutely. This team should be playing in the NCAA tournament. Everything they've done this season has set themselves up to accomplish that. And when we're talking about a squad playing for a Mountain West regular season title, which is the first step, every single game is gonna matter. And we can say, this game is big because of this or that. No, if you're playing to win a conference title, every single one of these games is impactful. And where we have then the separate conversation about your NCAA tournament resume is there's no margin for error in Mountain West play for the Lobos because while they didn't fall in their face in their non-conference schedule, they have nothing to lean on there. And so that's why it puts a little bit more pressure on the Lobos. They have to have these games at home. Now, yes, you can always get that road win, but you'd rather be in a place where you're gaining ground instead of trying to stay even. So if you lose like at Boise State tonight at home, well, then you try to get even when you split with the road, if you try to get that road split later in the season. And you look down, UNM's 11.5-point favorite in this game.
That's a lot, dude. But it's because they're beating everybody by double digits.
The last 5 games, they're winning by 20 points per game. And as much as we talk about how tough this is going to be, and Boise State coming in, and we'll talk about the Ross and their style of play, 11.5-point favorites at home, the world is expecting you to roll this team. And I think when the fans show up at the Pit tonight, because they will, 8 o'clock, 8:30, it doesn't matter. That place is going to be popping now because this team is giving you a reason to stay up at night. Lobo fans are going to show up there, and they're expecting Leon Rice to be walking up that ramp when that clock hits 000 with a big old double-digit loss in his pocket.
Leon Rice is the Boise State coach. Is he the second most hated coach by Lobo fan in this league?
Yes. Right now, yes.
Right? I mean, there's nobody even close, is there? You probably don't even know who the coach is at Colorado State or Utah State. Danny Sprinkle. Ooh, why would I? But it's Alford / Neal, and then it's Leon Rice, right?
Of course, it's just everything. It's the incident that happened last year at the Pit, Leon 100%. Rice versus the Lobo baseball team. It's the Boise State factor. San Diego State has the performance factor now. But then they have hey, we have a beach. It's like, good for you. I get it. But Boise State has some of that.
They also have a trip to the Final Four.
That's what I'm saying. They have it was always, you could never get at Aztec fans because no matter what you say, they're like, where do you live?
That's right.
Oh, versus
that's right.
Where do we live?
That's right.
And now they got a trip to the national championship. Like, you can't win that argument ever. But Boise State also has some of that because they're the team that, they've been really successful in football. They feel like they're one of those schools that is too good for the Mountain West Conference. And all those things trickle down, and fans feel that, and it's going to be a fun one tonight.
No, I heard you and DC talking about this as I was rolling out of town on Monday, that the arrogance around Boise State. And I think there's something to that. And I think not only does Lobo fan feel it, I think Aztec fan feels it. I think Colorado State fan feels it. And it doesn't just stem from their fan base. It feels like it trickles into their coaches a bit. And even you and I have talked about this a lot. I think their media feels like they've done something, right? They're when we go to media days, like they football. I was like, dude, you got a job in Boise, and they've had a good football team, but who are you? Like, why does that make you any better? No, right?
Yeah.
But they think that there's this crazy superiority complex around Boise State. No, there is. And Max Rice, in some respects, I think to Lobo fan and to non-Bronco fan, exudes that. And to your point, the thing with the baseball team last year, and for those of you not familiar with it, and I hate just referring to the thing, I think most of you know, but at halftime of the game at the Pit last year, the Lobo baseball team was lined up, and they shouldn't have been there. They were being recognized at the first media timeout of the second half on the floor. They had a young marketing person and lined them up too early, and in the hallway where
Sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes.
When you get your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt, prepare to shout, Jackson Hewitt, yeah, from the rooftops.
Check.
In the event you don't get your biggest refund, you'll get your money back, plus $100.
Eastbound Paseo has a crash west of I-25 with slowdowns. We're also looking at an accident on Central Avenue.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife, and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burkia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot! Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do the red zone at 9 o'clock this morning and get into that. Hey, I just want to finish a couple thoughts, and I don't know how deep into the...
You were in the middle of a great story.
The Leon Rice
describing
stuff.
the Leon Rice baseball stuff.
Did you finish it?
No, we kind of all just
All right.
froze and went to break.
Yeah, so the baseball team was out there, and Leon Rice evidently, after everything was, investigated, is the one who kind of initiated the confrontation and got into one of the local baseball players and then claimed, victim, and that's why we lost. And look, it was a bad look for everyone. UNM was in the wrong. They shouldn't have the players there, right? And they admitted, they said, we're sorry, they shouldn't have been there, like we made a mistake. And typically somebody would go, all right, it happens. But he wasn't letting go of that one. And then it ends up he was the guy who kind of initiated it. So that's why Lobo fan feels the way they do about it. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I'm expecting the Hellraisers, the Lobo student section, which has been fantastic this year. I love to see the fact that the students are showing up, they're filling up the student section at the pit. Maybe some baseball jerseys, maybe some baseball themed signs in the front row. Having some fun with it with Leon Rice in the pit tonight.
Yeah, and hit a home run, Leon, and all that. Yeah, all that. It's all there for you. All right, so that's kind of where that is. You going tonight? How do you feel about it tonight? There was a really good on the text line. It says when you spend the morning rewatching Lobos dismantle Nevada in the pit, and you feel like you just injected Red Bull and could dunk as a short white dude, that's going to be wild. You can't let Max Rice get right against us. So, evidently, the texter is a short white dude who just watched the Lobos Nevada game, where the Lobos won by 34. Feels like he could go out and dunk and inject. He feels like he injected Red Bull. And
so Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah, it does. This is where Lobo fan is, though, dude. And it's been a minute. And they were kind of there last year in December, right? And I so want Lobo fan to get paid off this year. And I don't know what payoff means, right? Certainly the tournament. I think getting back to the tournament for most Lobo fan will be payoff. Now, look, the day it ends, and it ends for everybody but one team, right? Whoever last year was UConn. The day whether you get knocked out in the first round, second round, Sweet 16, Elite 8, wherever it is, that day is going to be a bummer, and I'm not expecting you to look back and go, wow, that was a great run. But when it's all said and done, for Lobo fan and this team to feel paid off, because, again, JJ, it's been a decade since they've been to the tournament. There's been some rough years. There's been some promise. Like last year, this fan. Let's go back to the year they started 10-0, and what was the Carlton Bragg?
Yeah, Carlton Bragg, and then you had that tournament in
Jaquan
Barclays
Lyle.
Center, that they were playing, and they beat Wisconsin.
Yep. They lost to Auburn to beat Wisconsin.
And so you're starting to feel the vibe.
A couple of years ago. But I'm talking about the Carlton Bragg year, where they were 10-0, and then he got removed from the team, and then you had the Jaquan Lyle party, and the shooting at the party, and right. But that was a team that people really thought was something, and so a Lobo fan got back into it, and then they got beat up, and then last year they're 14-0. They're the last undefeated team in America, and Lobo fan. I mean, we're in, and all of a sudden you weren't, and you got beat by Utah Valley in the first round of the NIT. This fan base is ready to go off, and they've been going off, and I think it's beautiful. I do, and it's been a long-suffering deal, and I just don't want to pay off. And I guess I wonder, JJ, what do you think a payoff is? Is it just getting to the tournament? Is it winning a game in the tournament? What is a payoff for this fan base?
I think the team that is this good, NCAA tournament appearance, but they need one championship, a regular season or Mountain West title. I think, and then the NCAA tournament appearance, because that stuff, it's so hard to say you have to go in and win one game, you have to win two games, because you don't know what it's going to look like on the other side. Say this team is a Sweet 16 team, or even you go back to preseason and John Fanta is a college basketball guy out there, field of 68, who put the Lobos in his Final Four. So you have all these expectations, but to me, when it gets to the NCAA tournament, you just don't know until you get a chance to look at that bracket. But I think really, with as good as this team is playing, to bring home one championship, whether it's a regular season or Mountain West tournament title,
so cut down nets
somewhere, and then see what happens in the tournament.
Who is the team? And I need to watch some more Utah State. I'm a little guilty of not getting enough of them. Who is the team, in your opinion, and this would be good for Kenny on Friday when we kick it with Kenny, that is most tournament built in the Mountain West, whether it's San Diego State, Nevada, Colorado State, New Mexico, Boise State, whatever order you want to put them in? Who do you think is the team? Because when you look at, somebody called in on Monday and asked to compare this Lobo team to San Diego State last year, right? That San Diego State team that was really built to make a run, obviously deep in the tournament. They went to the final game. And I look at New Mexico, and I like where they are up front. I wonder if there's enough depth up front, big depth, I think absolutely in the backcourt they're built, but they're small. So when they go up against big physical guards, how does it go? So who do you think's built the best to make a deep run out of all these teams?
I think you have to look at San Diego State, been there, done that. Okay. Because you talk about just size and length all over the place, but then I want to see. I'd like to see the Lobos on the road against them because the size and length sure was not an issue when the Lobos got rolling at the pit.
No, that's right.
Against the Aztecs, I'm not as worried about the interior depth for the Lobos because you have to go get a little deep into the tournament to face teams that are going to throw multiple big time.
Maybe. I mean, it just depends on matchups. Yeah, maybe you could get somebody in the first round. You don't know.
You could get one of those matchups. So, I think with the style of play of the Lobos, you look, they're leading the Mountain West in steals and can carry you for a game.
Should Nevada
win you a game?
Should Nevada be better than they looked? Like Blackshear and Lucas are really good. Are they just not deep enough?
You know what Nevada reminds me of a little bit? This is kind of the Lobos last year. You have two really good guards, but they end up playing a lot of one-on-one basketball.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the Lobos last year of you like the team, but you're kind of like, where's the flow, where's the depth, and that's kind of where they're at right now.
And when I watched them the game before when they played Colorado State, I thought they looked nice and they were coming together, and they really flowed and they beat a good Colorado State team, right? And then they came in here and just got picked apart. And I was stunned a little bit. Not that the Lobos won, but 34 points, dude. I mean, they picked that team apart, and that's where I was stunned. I'm going to tell you, I don't know that I think San Diego State. Well, to say they're not as good as a team that went to the final game is, duh, right? They're just not. They lost a couple of key pieces, and to me, what they lost three key pieces. They lost their shot maker, like they're in Bradley. Mensa was their rim protector, and Keyshawn Johnson went to Arizona, so that was all their beef down low. Now, they had Jaden Ledeen, and he's been better this year, certainly, than he was last year. He's terrific. I don't trust their guards, San Diego State. And Lamont Butler has hit some of the biggest shots in the history of that program, and they'll build a statue out in front of EAHOS for him because he's clutch. Like, if you ask me, at the end of a game, do I trust him? Sure. And I'm not sold on Trammell because I think he's good, but I think he's inconsistent. And then they got Saunders, and I think they're good. I think they're a tournament team. I don't know that I see them getting out of the first weekend. Colorado State's built well. I like Cartier. Is that his name? Yeah. I like Cartier a lot, and I like, obviously, Stevens is as good as there is in this league. Dude, I look at the Lobos, and I think they might be the best constructed. If there's an area, like I said, the two things that would concern me, and let's talk in 2 weeks when they take this thing on the road against the good teams, right? And we'll get a better feel. But I agree with you that defense travels and perimeter defense and the pest that Jalen House has become. I have no qualms about their starting five. I think True Washington is going to be a key in the postseason. Why? He's a freshman, Jeff. Yeah, but he's a long guard who is defense. And I think he can go out and guard some of these guys that you're going to see. And mark my words and go back and look in history. NCAA tournaments historically are won in the backcourt. It's not about the big guy, always. Now, you'll tell me, look at Patrick. You're right. There's always the outlier. NCAA tournaments, JJ, have been won by great guards, whether it's Kemba Walker or, just go down the list. A little bit of concern about length on the perimeter defensively and depth up front. If Nelly and or Toppin get into foul trouble, where do you go? Amsil is a four that likes to play on the perimeter. And so those are my two concerns. But, I was looking at this yesterday. Heck, I think they're as built for the postseason as anybody in this league, and this league's really freaking good.
I agree. And a lot of it, too, is how they've settled into their roles in conference play. Is that backcourt's been healthy, so Richard Pitino has been able to roll it out there, get through some early lumps. Coming off that UNLV game, that was a wake-up call for everyone. Jalen House talked about it following the Nevada game. Richard Pitino touched on it yesterday again in his media availability about this team knows they can be good it's even good teams have to take it another level.
Yeah.
And that's what this team did after the UNLV game. Is they know it has to be every single day to be a conference champion, to live up to the hype, to the expectations, and we're seeing that. And that's why the Mountain West is really good at the top. Like these people aren't making it up. It's not just us in Albuquerque screaming about, hey, the league's good, guys, the league's good. It's you have your national writers, you have your media partners that are seeing it, and they're talking a lot about the Mountain West. And to look down and to be an 11.5-point favorites against Boise State, it's showing you that you're in the midst of something special right now.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to compare the Lobos to the 49ers in a way that, like, I've asked the one question I've got about the Lobos. And I brought this up before. Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers brought this up about his team. What the Lobos and the 49ers might have in common, or at least the same concern, that's coming up next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
Eastbound Paseo has a crash west of I-25 with slowdowns.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Jr. Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Half. And why are they 11.5-point favorites? Well, because they've been beating teams. It's the opening drive. Jeff Sibbieta, JJ Buck, DC. We're going to do red zone NFL stuff coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. So, JJ, it's great to be beating teams by double digits. In fact, the Lobos on their 5-game win streak right now are averaging 91.2 points per game. Lobos are averaging, their average margin of victory in that was north of 20, right? And so you look at it, and I think it's wonderful. But I also know, and I don't know how you solve this, because you never say, let's try to get into a close game. And I asked this years ago. I remember there was an Alford team that went into the postseason. Very similar situation, had not been tested. There weren't close games. How are you going to react in close games? And JJ, I don't know how you solve this, but it's interesting that Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers head coach, found a positive in the way they had to win. And look, this is coach speak, and you spin it, and you always are going to do this. But the way they had to win the last 2 weeks, coming back to beat the Packers, coming back to beat the Lions. Kyle Shanahan called them gut checks. He said, I always think when you go through stuff like this, it hardens you and prepares you for any situation. You want to be able to go through tons of games and be able to win games any way possible. I always feel we're capable of winning games any way possible, but it just hasn't gone that way this year totally. We've been able to win a bunch of games pretty easily where the fourth quarter isn't so stressful. And he went on to talk about that. Do you think there's something to it, to learning? Because when you get in the postseason, there's going to be tight games. And I look at the only tight game really was the New Mexico State game, and they won it. It was on the road. They won by 1. Do you think there's anything to that?
Absolutely. And I do think that's a really good parallel with what we're discussing right now in the 49ers in the postseason, the way those games played out. And you need to be ready for situations, and there's only so much you can do in practice to prepare yourself for a game situation, because it's the crowd's involved, there's referees, there's an opponent that's game planning against you, so you have to go through game-like situations to get experience and to get prepared for it. And I think, looking at the Lobos schedule ahead, they're going to find themselves in those games when they go on the road.
You hope so.
To all the places that we're discussing: Aztecs, Reno, Utah State, Boise State, etc. So they're going to get their chances to have to win or come back in close games. And it's a fair question, but if it's 1-2 that you kind of shrug and say, hey, we'll find out when we get there. And I know something that you've talked about, and Richard Pitino was asked about it again yesterday. I know you asked him it last week, but about peaking too early in the season. And it's one of those things that's like, hey, if you're going to compete for a championship, if you feel that you're an NCAA tournament team, that your team can win a conference championship, you're going to win a lot of games. There's no peaking too early. You have to win games. And this team is just rolling right now.
So there were a couple of tight games. Remember way back, third game of the year, they beat UT Arlington 82-80? Remember all the questions? Well, what are they squeaking by Texas Arlington 82-84? They went to Nevada. They beat Toledo by 8. Came home, beat Louisiana Tech by 9. Other than that, man. Other than that, and then the game at New Mexico State. Other than that, I mean, in conference, they lost by 8, won by 17, lost by 10, won by 18, won by, 17, won by 19, won by 20, won by 34. It's insane that there haven't been close. Like when you say it now, there will be. Now there will be. Like you're going on the road in February, and there will be tonight. Don't you expect tonight to be tighter than 11.5? I know what the trends have been. It's hard for me, and again, I don't bet these games, but I don't know which side I'd be on. I mean, the trend says take the Lobos because they've been blowing fools out of the pit. But man, oh man, at some point, right? Which side are you on that?
I'm wearing a red shirt this morning.
Woof,
I might
woof.
be a little too much caught up in the moment, but dude, you're beating teams by 20 points per game.
Yeah.
Like they don't accidentally install you as a double-digit favorite.
I agree.
In these games.
I don't know where I would go.
Riding with the Lobos tonight.
Okay. All right. I don't know where I would go. JJ's got women's basketball today, not tonight. Today here on the Sports Animal, 10:30 pregame show, and they will tip at 11 o'clock with the Event Center on the campus of San Jose State University. That gets you home on time. Dan says Bradbury's going to send them, right? Jeffrey and Donovan Cross. Spartans are another 300-ish RPI club. Bradbury's going to tell Juan Jose State, catch us if you can, right? What do you got on the table for the ladies' side? Because they're rolling too.
Yeah, 4-game win streak for the women. This includes wins over the top 2 teams in the Mountain West Conference, which, by the way, UNLV is at Wyoming tonight on the women's side, and it's a battle for first place. So that's a huge game with UNLV coming to the pit on Saturday, and they'll have revenge on their mind for what the Lobos did to them in Las Vegas. These are the games, being in these situations. On the outside, the Lobos should win this game. They're 6-2 in Mountain West play. Spartans are 1-6, but there's always that, especially with this Lobo team, there's always that moment of, does that cold shooting hit? And it hit in Air Force. They hit 2 shots in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They were 2 of 12 from the field, but they shot a ton of free throws. So if they go cold and they don't get the whistle, then these are the games that get interesting in the wrong way for UNM, because San Jose State has a guard, Jaya Lovett, a freshman averaging 18 points per game in conference play. Sabrina Ma is a sophomore that can hit threes. And it's things like that. If they hit early shots and you go cold, then you're going to find yourself early, long afternoon, not in the type of game you want at San Jose. So I'm always a little hesitant to say a team's going to roll, because I've sat there and seen so many things.
Especially, JJ, and you tell me, it feels, and I might be wrong, that when they play these morning games, and it's been in San Diego in the past, and it doesn't, their track record's not very good, is it? These morning school day midweek games.
And I don't even know if this is a school day game for San Jose State. It's a free game. Like if you're on campus, you just walk into the arena.
Dude, it's 10 o'clock in the morning there, right? What time you're tipping, right?
11.
11 here, or 11 there? So you're on at
11
noon here.
Noon Mountain.
All right, I was given the wrong times then. All right. So, but still, 11 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it. The Lobos practiced early yesterday. They had a 10 a.m. Mountain Time practice before everyone hopped on the plane, and it's what you get, man.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it, because San Jose State, they're playing this game at 11 a.m. and next Wednesday we'll be in San Diego doing the same thing.
Over or under 120 people in the gym today? I'm just asking.
Might take the under.
It's 11 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon to go see San Jose State's women's basketball team play. Yeah. All right. Jeff sent me a text that I've been saying all year about Lobo basketball men. I will not judge this team until we get into mid-February, early March, but I do think they're gelling and will continue the role. But, we're going to have a couple of losses before the Mountain West tournament. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's super logical. I think that's the right way to look at it. All right, when we come back, an NBA star says it's a stupid rule. I don't know, JJ. Is it asking too much to ask you to work 3/4 of your work days? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
I'm Jeff, JJ, and DC. So, JJ, the NBA had a issue with load management, correct?
Yes, sir.
Players were sitting out a lot, yeah. So, in the offseason, the owners instituted, and this was agreed by the Players Union, that for postseason awards, MVPs, first team All-Pro, all NBA, all that stuff, you had to play 65 of the 82 games. That's basically 3/4 of the game. Tyler Halliburton's a really good player for the Indiana Pacers. He got injured, and this is where there is a flaw in the rule for real injury, right? As opposed to, I just don't want to play back-to-backs. He called it a stupid rule. It may cost him $40 million. He's missed already 13 games this year. He's not a fan of this policy. His quote was, "I think it's a stupid rule, like plenty of guys in the league, but it's what the owners want. So, as players, we got to do our job and play in 65 games if we're able to. So that's what I got to do. Take care of my body, be able to play in those games." And I think you're seeing other players in the league kind of face the same things, as long as the owners are happy. End quote. I got to do my job. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm struggling. I get where he had a real injury. and he may not make first team All NBA, and it may cost him $40 million over the life of his contract. And that's a big deal, dude. $40 million is a lot of money. I get this. I guess if the owners want us to do our job, we got to do our job. I'm struggling with it quite a bit.
So if I'm Tyrese Halliburton, I understand his frustration because that's a lot of money on the table, and he is, a first, second team, All-Pro, All-NBA type of guard this season. He's having one of those years. So I get his just frustration from a player and money standpoint, but from a individual award to getting selected to an All-NBA team, there should be quote unquote longevity as part of that, because the MVP is not always the best player in the league. It's not the way it works. You don't just hand the MVP to the best player every single year.
To LeBron for 10 years in a row. Yeah,
it's how Russell Westbrook won an MVP. He sneaks in there. It is based on just an individual season. And to me, when I'm talking about MVPs, when I'm talking about All NBA selections, I want to see you play the majority of the season. I do not think that there is anything wrong with that. I get the frustration from a player's standpoint that it could cost you money, but you still have to play. Joel Embiid could be the best player in the NBA, but we're not just going to give him the MVP if he's hurt half the season. You just don't do that. And to me, I understand the frustration from a player standpoint, but I think this is a good rule, because if you're saying, hey, you guys are playing an 82-game regular season, they're just asking 65 games to be eligible.
Three-quarters of the work days.
And if you get hurt, you get hurt. It happens. Yeah. But that should affect you in All-Pro and MVP status, because it's the way sports work.
I agree. I think if you're going to be MVP, you need to play, right? You need to play, and they decided three-quarters. This whole, it's what the owners want. If the owners are happy, then fine. We got to go do our jobs. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's kind of how it works. They're your bosses. If your owner, my boss wants me to go to work today, dude. He's not going to give me a bonus if I don't go to work. Really? Welcome to life. And I know you say it all the time, and you're 100% right. That to compare our lives to their lives, it's not. It's just, but it's life, man. You got to go to work three-quarters of the days, and if you're hurt, it sucks. And I do feel for him. Okay, is it a guarantee he's first or second team all NBA? Is he one of the top 10?
He'll be in that conversation.
He will. He will.
Yeah.
No, he's terrific. But to be all NBA in a given year, right? Not for the decade, not whatever. In a given year, you should have to play three-quarters of the games. Why is this like? Well, it's a stupid rule because I got to go to work to get paid and to get my bonus. No, you still are making, what's he making, $40, $50 million a year?
Nice contract. Yes.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry. And if I'm wrong, I'm listening to it. And if there's a bunch of you out there who feel at 505-246-0610 who feel, I don't know, you feel empathy for him? Do you feel sympathy for the NBA player who can't play three-quarters of the schedule and hence can't get the MVP or can't get all NBA and can't get their $40 million bonus because they can't play? Look, the issue with the league, and I get it when there's injuries, and it sucks, it's a bummer, and it happens all the time. You don't hit incentives. The pitcher who blows out his elbow and doesn't get 20 starts or whatever it is and misses out, right? The wide receiver who hurts his shoulder and misses 3 games and doesn't hit his reception incentive and misses out on $2 million bonus. It sucks. But that's where the thresholds are. And I don't think having to play an X number of games is any different than the bonus where you know if you catch 1,400 or 1,200 yards worth of passes, you get bonus, or 1,000 yards, and if you get 947, you don't get it. Tell me, I mean, is it any different to you?
Not at all. You play to get paid.
I don't think it's a stupid rule, even though Tyrese Halliburton does. Talk to Kenny about that on Friday as well. We'll kick it with Kenny at 8:30 or at 9 o'clock on Friday. So if you're with us about now today, you'll probably be with us about then on Friday, and we'll talk to former NBA player Kenny Thomas about that. When we come back, let's go into the red zone. What are the Falcons going to do? What are the Commanders do now with their head coaching position? It's the opening drive. Thanks for being with us this morning on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madmen home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
It's the OD in the AM with three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Game day, both Lobo men and women. Big one today, afternoon, morning, for the Lobo women. JJ's in San Jose. It'll be a noon start here on the Sports Animal. 11:30 is when JJ will crack the microphone from the event center in San Jose, New Mexico and San Jose State. And then tonight over on News Radio KKOB, 8:30 tip, 8 o'clock pregame. Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green will have Lobo basketball. The 19th ranked men's team will take on Boise State. And after that, you can listen to Lobo Live. You can call in Kenny Thomas and Brandon Ortega. We'll take your calls. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, and DC. How's a beautiful day in San Jose? They're supposed to get like this crazy rain. Are you going to get out of there before that?
I hope. I think the getting out of San Jose might be a little dicey, but hopefully once we get in the air, get on the way home, be good.
All right, DC, you ready to do a little red zone and hit some of the big NFL topics?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Are you crazy? I'm saying you're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Tom Brady this thing.
You're in the Red Zone with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Let's go, baby!
It's first and goal.
Well, the Commanders' options are starting to slim with Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick staying with their current teams. So what do you guys expect to happen next? When will Washington hire their next coach, and who do you think it might be?
I think it's got to be in the next week. JJ, you know what's starting to make a lot of sense to me there is Mike Vrabel. A guy who is there, who is proven, who is respected, who is good, who's got a little Belichickian in him, but has been the only Belichick disciple to really go out and have some success. I wonder if that's where they start to lean.
Yeah, and for the Commanders, given the fact it's a brand new ownership group, I don't think that there's going to be the feeling of needing to do a 180, and that's all we talk about with these head coaching jobs is you always get a guy that's a little bit different. You have the defensive guy, well, let's go for the offensive guy. You have the old guy, let's go for the young guy. I think it is wide open for the Commanders at this point in time because there's a lot of veteran coaches available, and they're just coming off that. They had that with Ron Rivera. Mm-hmm. And with Ben Johnson off the market, get Bobby Slowick, OC back in Houston, they might have to adjust their targets a little bit. There's still good coaches available. You know, is Vrabel too close to Ron Rivera just in terms of a defensive guy? I'm not sure. You know, the Mike Vrabel one is interesting because I don't know if he's as good as his hype as a head coach. I'm looking at Mike McDonald as well, the defensive coordinator at Baltimore, and if you're looking for a guy maybe with a little more youth on his side, I think that would be a good option for the Commanders.
Second and goal.
Well, we saw the Texans turn around real quickly with a new coach and quarterback. So fast forward to next year, we have the Falcons, Panthers, Commanders, Raiders, Chargers, Titans, Patriots, and Seahawks will all have new head coaches to start next season. So of these 8 teams, which one do you think will make the playoffs first?
Is that really a question? Are we asking this question? It's Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, baby. Let's go.
I mean, it was too easy, right? Man, because I just don't want to say that.
No, you don't want to say it.
Well, I just don't, but I think you might be right. Seattle was really close. I'll go Seattle. I don't even know who their coach is going to be. I think it's still Geno. I just don't want to say the Chargers. Just because you did.
Third and goal.
I wouldn't want to say Chargers either, so I don't blame you. All right, so we're 6 weeks away from the beginning of free agency. There are a lot of well-known names at every position that will be available on the 13th of March. So I want each of you to name a few of the free agents that will be wearing a new team's jersey next season.
Oh, goodness. There's so many names that we just don't know that are going to be impactful. I think the biggest one to watch out for is obviously Kirk Cousins. Because it's wild that we're just so desensitized to major injuries now. But, he's coming off an Achilles. Aaron Rodgers will be coming off Achilles and just expecting these guys to be able to step in right away and get going. And then some of the skill position, I'm really interested to see what happens with Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs.
Saquon's my guy. Yeah, I think Saquon's gone. I just think there's just been too much there, and I think the Giants have made it very clear that they're not paying a running back what he wants to be paid. Now, I don't know who's going to pay him what he thinks he's worth. Market will set what he's worth. I think Saquon's going to be somewhere else.
Fourth and goal.
Did I stutter? Beer me.
Well, day one of the Senior Bowl gave us some great Jerry Jones sound, but it also gave us a look at the 24 draft class. So yesterday, NFL.com's Daniel Jeremiah released his list of the top 50 prospects. We've heard about a lot of the bigger names like Caleb Williams, but what about the other players on this list? So I want you guys to just kind of comb through the guys towards the top of the list of prospects and just tell us about that player and why they are considered to be a top prospect.
I'm one that you always have to look at the offensive lineman. When it comes to drafting in the top 10 NFL draft, there's 3 things. If I was a general manager, I'd be looking at. It's, do I need a quarterback versus the quarterbacks that are coming out? All right. And then it's about protecting the quarterback and getting to the quarterback. So you look at offensive linemen, and that starts from the guard to tackles. To me, it doesn't have to be a tackle to be an impactful offensive lineman selection in the top 10. Just best offensive lineman available. And then I go right to the best pass rushers available. And a name you're going to hear a lot is Joe Alt, Notre Dame, one of those guys. Senior Bowl week is always fun because we're going to get a ton of stories that continue to come out, as DC mentioned. But anytime I'm thinking about the NFL draft in the top 10, those are the first three that I'm looking at.
So I think that's right. Who's going to get to the after quarterbacks? Who's going to get to the quarterback, and who's going to protect the quarterback? So I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go who's going to help the quarterback. And I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is the flavor of the year, and I'm not telling you I don't think he's going to be great. I love Roma Dunze from Washington, the wide receiver, and I think a team that we look at. How far does he fall? Okay, who needs a receiver? Who is that away? Like if your guy Justin Herbert gets a receiver like this, look out. But he's big, he's athletic, he's the Washington receiver. To me right now is a prospect that I think. I don't know, man. He may end up being the best receiver in this class. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think this is a draft class that kind of the way things fall, we might see some more skilled players go in the top 10 than usual, because you mentioned the Chargers. They're sitting there at number 5, and I'm always interested in adding to that offensive line to protect Justin Herbert. But they're also a team that
if they lose Keenan Allen. Yeah.
Well, Keenan Allen's under contract, but he could be a cap casualty because he has such a high number.
It's
Austin
$30
Eckler
million.
is on the way out, man. He's a free agent, and I'm not paying that dude again. Like, tip your cap, say thank you, man. I appreciate it. Mike Williams has been hurt. Quentin Johnson was not good, and he was their first-round pick last year at wide receiver. So that's where you look, and the wide receiver you just mentioned from Washington could be right there. That could be a Brock Bowers, a tight end from Georgia situation, Malik Neighbors, because the Chargers now need to surround Herbert with some weapons because it's changed, and he doesn't have go-to guys on that field right now.
There's a lot of first-round quality receivers in this draft. Who's the best running back in the draft? And I say that because it could be third round. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, where'd Kyron Williams come from? Where do half these guys come from? And they don't have to be fourth overall pick, fifth overall pick like Saquon Barkley. And you on Eckler goes back, DC, to one of your earlier questions, on free agents and new guy, new place, whatever. I firmly believe Austin Eckler will be somewhere else. And he did not have a great season, JJ. And I cannot stop ringing in my head what DC said right before the season started. And that text chain with Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs about, fine, let's, they're not going to pay us. Let's just go out and get an injury, right? And I don't think that's what happened. But I'm going to tell you, going into a year where they want to get paid, Jacobs was good. He was hurt.
It didn't happen with Austin Eckler.
I don't think so either.
Like, he was legitimately
hurt. I can't get it out of my head.
I know you can't get it out of your head, but why would you tank yourself?
No, you wouldn't, because you're going into a pay year.
Yeah, so that's why I know there was a lot of frustration from running backs because they weren't getting paid in that moment. But knowing that you didn't get like an extended deal with money, like to go out there and then tank yourself in your like the last minute window that you have. He's 28, going to be 29 years old.
Right.
And he looked slow. He didn't look good at the end of the season. Like, that's just shooting yourself in the foot for no reason there. I know we go back to that, and you're right. That's something that's in your head and it's ringing, but there's no benefit for these guys to do that with nothing in that second year on them.
I think that's why that leaked. I think the guys who got kind of brought into it were like, "This is ridiculous. I don't want any part of it." Because I've thought about that a lot this year too. Like, why would that get out? What's the benefit? And I think really they didn't want anything to do with it. So the Eckler deal though is one to keep an eye on, because I think you're right. He's going to be on a different team. Yeah,
but he's not going to get nearly what he thinks he should get.
Oh no, he shot himself in the foot.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. You can get in on any of that. JJ, when we come back, this email says, Boise State fan versus UNM fan, what you said was rich. ... Lobo fan, brace yourself. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
The Super Bowl matchup is set. Chiefs, Niners.
Ayuk is on fire!
Touchdown!
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
They make more money than I will ever see in 10 lifetimes. Go to work. That's at 505-246-0610. JJ, that's in response to Tyrese Halliburton saying, I mean, if the owners are happy, fine, they got what they want. I guess I'll have to go to work and make my bonus. I think that's where most fans are, right?
There's not another side to this. It's if you get hurt as a player, that's a bummer. But that affects your contract, that affects your bonuses. Like, you can't just give all NBA to the best players just because.
That's right.
And so you're going to sit there and say, oh, Joel Embiid played 2 games and he's first team All NBA because we think he's the best center in the game. That's not the way it works, man.
You don't get bonus if you don't perform at that level to get bonus. That's all. And if you get injured, you don't perform. It's just what it is. Again, I'll go back to incentives in every other sport, right? A running back gets bonused at 1,200 yards, and he gets hurt and misses 4 games, and he ends up with 1,120 yards. He didn't get bonus, man, and because of injury. And it's not a stupid rule because you have to go out and perform. It is what it is. This is from AC. So we're talking about Boise State fan. JT Lobos play Boise State men's basketball tonight at the Pit, 8:30 start over on News Radio KKOB. And we were talking about the Boise State fan base, and there's an arrogance to Boise State. And I think there is. They feel that they're superior to this league. They've made it clear. I don't think they made any secret about it. AC says, what you said was rich. You saying Boise State fans think they are entitled? Please. Have you ever talked to a UNM fan? Which I know you have. They are the most entitled, arrogant fan there is.
I think AC is an Aggie fan, so I take that with a grain of salt. Those fan bases are going to go back against each other, and they're each going to think that they're ridiculous and dumb. So
every fan base has an inflated sense of self. Everyone. They do. And I don't care if it's from what league you should be in, to what bowl you should be in, to whatever, where you should be seated in the NCAA tournament, all of that. Every fan base has this inflated sense of self. If you go through the Mountain West Conference, and when we start having these conversations about realignment and going into a power, whatever league or whatever, they all feel that they are at this status. And pick it. Boise State fan, San Diego State fan, UNM fan, Colorado State fan, pick them. Every fan base. Hell, Aggie fan, right? I mean, the New Mexico Bowl wasn't good enough for that 10-4 team, right? With their history.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, no, that happened.
Yeah.
No, not all of them. Not all of them. But a portion of them, right? Well, we should be playing in a different game. Better. Let's go to the Camellia Bowl. That'll be better. Okay. All right. So AC, I think every single fan base has that arrogance to them. Bourne says on LeBron James, Jeff, yesterday I was listening to something and I heard the screaming head saying the Lakers are finished. It's time for LeBron to enter the transfer portal. If LeBron wins another belt, will it be with another uniform instead of forum gold? Does LeBron end his career with the Lakers?
Yes.
Even if Bronny ends up somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the draft status of Bronny James is going to be unless some team just thinks it's, hey, I'll draft Bronny James in the second round, and then thus I'll get a year of selling tickets with LeBron James on my roster with this kid.
I think all that's right. I first of all, is LeBron Jr., Bronny James, is he an NBA player?
All right now.
I mean, he's not close, right?
And you just got to let the dude play basketball. Like he went
right.
through one of those heart situations where the season started. Like it's at this point, the kid just needs to practice and play games, and he's back on the court for USC, which is fantastic to see.
That's right.
That does it. He's not a NBA player just because of his last name.
Let the young man go to school, play college basketball, be healthy. But, I mean, this is one of those where Daddy's laid this one out now.
Yes.
Right? Daddy laid this one out. This is almost a LeVar Ball kind of a thing, right? Where I'm going to speak it into existence. Undefeated, never lost. I would take Michael Jordan one-on-one, right? LeBron said, I want to stick around. I want to play in the NBA with my kid. Well, I think everybody just assumed, well, his kid must be great. His kid must be... Not sure he is, man. I'm not sure he is. All right, email Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Omar says, how about this quarterback? Would Coach Jones bring Russell Wilson to the NFL's most outstanding organization, especially if we can get JJ's club to cover part of his bloated contract?
Why would rather just pay Dak Prescott?
Thank you. Why? And Omar, I'd ask you this. Why do you think Russell Wilson is better than Dak Prescott? Well, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. He went back to a second. He did. Like, how long ago? What?
Yeah, I'm just paying Dak Prescott. Those are my options.
Well, and do you have to pay him? Right? I mean, but yeah, the Russell Wilson to me isn't the answer. Lobo Hobo says Bill Belichick equals Rocky Long, ? Jeff, there's another coach closer to home. We don't see schools jumping at the chance to hire. I don't know that Rocky is dying to, well, I mean, I'm certain he doesn't want to be a head coach, and I'm not sure Rocky's 73, I believe. I'm not sure. I think the New Mexico job interested him, right, to get his alma mater back up. And I don't know this for a fact, and I just texted with him briefly during the search. I don't know that Rocky has an interest. I think they've got their place up in Durango that they love, and they got a place here, and I think Rocky's pretty happy these days, from what I understand.
And I think from what you understand is the right way to read that situation.
Yeah. All right, Carl's in on Steve Alford and Craig Neal. Jeff, the last couple days, I talked to Lobo fans. These are my favorite ones. Jeff, I talked to Lobo fans who feel that Alford and Craig Neal did not give Lobo basketball enough credit after the beating the other day. What did you expect them to say, it says? Nevada still thinks they can win. They aren't going to psych out their own guys by saying Lobo basketball is so good we can't beat them. I don't know where that comes from because I listened. I didn't hear anything Craig said. I don't know that he did say anything publicly. But you and I both listened to Steve's post-game press gathering. I thought he was incredibly respectful of the Lobos. Said they played really well, that he's happy for them. He's happy for Richard. He's happy for the fan base. He loves the way that they're taking care of the former players. He loves the pit. I don't know what more you want him to say. He says they played really well and we played really not well. Right? Did you get anything out of what Steve said after that game the other night that was disrespectful?
No. I didn't hear anything that was disrespectful from Steve Alford, and he currently is a coach at Nevada, and that should be his focus, and it shouldn't be to prop up anything at UNM right now.
That's right. No, 100% right. He doesn't owe... what do you want to hear from him? Do you want him to gush over what's going on here and tell you he wishes he was back? Is that what you need to hear? That's what you need to hear from your ex-girlfriend? Well, I mean, everything's fine, but I really miss you, and I wish we could... and we're never, ever, ever getting back together. Sorry.
Never say never, Jeff. It
was my Taylor Swift moment for the day. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Emails come in this morning, as they always do. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com and JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. The Jerry and Belichick thing is interesting. Does the media go right back at Jerry again today and just see if he's got another nugget? Hey, Jerry, let me throw a mic in your face, and he talks. Like, I mean, do you just go back at him again? Yeah.
100%.
He's not done, right?
He's never done.
Yeah, he's not done. All right, when we come back, NIL stuff. The state of Tennessee is suing the NCAA over legality of NIL guidelines. There's an investigation into the Volunteers. Virginia's a co-plaintiff in this. The NIL stuff is so bonkers and evolving, and everybody's afraid of lawsuits. What this one means and could mean when it comes to y'all. That's y'all. See, I did because that was Tennessee and Virginia. Next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl matchup.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Albuquerque's leader in sports.
I land in a place where I think the schools probably should have more control over it and there should be more transparency, because honestly, I had a conversation this weekend, like, how much would it take to buy a winner, basically. And the fact that that's a thing in college basketball now just doesn't seem like a good fit. So I find it very interesting that the states are now getting involved, and I don't know. There needs to be some large change, because you see that it is getting so lopsided that it's just not sustainable.
Yeah, I think there's a appetite now, both from the conference level and from the institutional level, the schools, to somehow have the schools control the collectives, right? Right now, the collectives who are paying the student athlete, and this isn't NIL. I mean, let's be honest. This is pay to play. This is there are NIL deals. There are deals where, hey, do a commercial for my business and I will pay you. There are those. That's what Livy Dunn did, and Caleb Williams is doing for the Heisman House thing. What is that, Dr. Pepper or whatever it is? What is the Heisman House? Is it insurance? What is Dr. Pepper? What are they selling?
Heisman House, I do believe, is Dr. Pepper.
Toyota, or is it a car?
He's on Wendy's as well.
He is he's on Dr. Pepper. That's the 13, the superstition thing, and he's on Heisman. Is Heisman House Toyota? I don't even know what they're selling me now that I think about it. Do you?
I'm looking it up right now. As you say it, it's like I can picture it.
Yeah, no, it's a great campaign, but
it's not that great if you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what they're selling me. All right, so there's attorney generals in Tennessee and Virginia, so 2 states. They filed antitrust lawsuits against the NCAA. That's actually one lawsuit against the NCAA. They're challenging the legality of the NCAA's NIL guidelines. Okay. This is right after CBS reported that Tennessee is dealing with an ongoing investigation into potential NIL violations involving marketing from a firm called the Spire Sports Group. So you're going, wait a minute, how did they violate guidelines when there really aren't any guidelines to violate, right? So Tennessee and Virginia versus the NCAA. States are seeking to do away with NIL guidelines that were adopted in 2021. They've been modified. No, let's not have guidelines. That's just, I mean, and there's plenty of people who are pushing for this. Why do I need guidelines? Free market, open market, pay, get what you can get, which I'm listening to. So the suit alleges that the NCAA violated antitrust laws by denying athletes their ability to earn full compensation for their name, image, and likeness. The plaintiffs, which include the attorneys general of Tennessee and Virginia, may, in a matter of days, seek a temporary injunction which would suspend the NCAA's NIL rules and limitations. So should the NCAA push back, if they want to get into this battle, they'd go to trial, which could ultimately take years. But the NCAA is hoping to avoid another federal lawsuit, which challenges its ability to govern the caseload that it's already managing. Look, I don't know how we go on and consider we're going to have an even playing field if there's no rules. But this is, in DC, I've been in a lot of these conversations, as you can imagine, over the last couple of days about NIL.
I would imagine that's a hot topic right now.
Of course. And I've been in conversations with most of the conferences had a representative at these meetings. And we're talking about it. And, they're beat up in it. They're living in it. This is their world. Do you just say there's no regulations? I think there's an appetite for saying, okay, there should be a salary cap for an institution. But what this is saying is why? Why should there be any cap? Well, there's a cap in the NBA. There's a cap in the NFL. Yeah, but this is different. Let the student athletes do whatever they want. This is going to be crazy. If there's no rules on this, it's just pay to play. Well, it comes back to what you were saying. How much does it cost to buy a winner? And how does New Mexico possibly compete, let alone with Texas and Alabama and SC? How they compete in their league with San Diego State and Boise State and Colorado State? Now, basketball, they're doing pretty well with it. Basketball, the collective, evidently, is really, really good. But what do you do for football?
That's a tough one. Because, with such a large team, you have to have a large donor base to satisfy that. if you are in a situation where there's no rules for NIL, that is a very slippery slope that I think puts a lot of schools behind the 8 ball in a way that they have to look at it and wonder if they can even compete or if it's worth it, because at some point you have diminished returns where it's like we're spending a bunch of money but we can't get wins, so why don't we build a new science building, or why don't we build a new communications building, whatever it might be. But
that money's coming from somewhere else, right? You're not going to have that money if it doesn't go to athletics.
I guess I was thinking in terms of if the school was taking control of it, but the way you laid it out, I guess maybe I misunderstood it. But
the school would control the money, but would the money be there? Are you and your booster buddies giving money if it's not going to athletics, if it's going to a new chemistry building? You're not. That money's not going to be there, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and that's there's a lot I don't understand about it, so the confusion is there. But I just this puts so many schools at a major disadvantage, and football. It's part of the college experience for so many people. It troubles me that the money in buying players and buying schools could really have a negative impact for a lot of schools.
To have no rules, I think, is concerning. And there's plenty of you who are saying, no, why? Let them get what they want. Okay, I'll even buy that premise for a second, all right? Let's just say there is no cap. Pay them what they want. Do you feel that and maybe you do, that the NIL should be an inducement for recruiting? Do you feel that you should be able to recruit a student athlete who is on someone else's campus, who is enrolled? Should you be able to recruit them whilst you're Texas and Oklahoma's got a kid, Auburn's got a kid, you want that player? Should you be able to contact that player whilst they are enrolled at Auburn? Offer them more money and get them to your campus.
That feels like tampering.
Okay, but this is where everybody's saying, well, there shouldn't be any rules. Who cares? There's no contracts. They're not employees. There is no other sport, is there, where you can tamper, and it is, go onto someone else's roster in the middle of a season and induce them, recruit them, try to lure them to you. Is there? You can't do that legally. Now you can say it happens, I imagine, but since they're not employees, there can't be contracts, right? So how do we play this game? This is crazy and getting crazier, and to say there should not be any rules, I think is concerning.
I automatically think about Live Golf when you say this. And I think to myself, there's going to be someone out there who decides that they just absolutely love some college and they've got more money than they know what to do with. And they're going to say, let's have a little fun. Let's play Disruptor. And they're going to pick a team and that team's going to get real good real fast.
Well, there's plenty of people like that, right? I mean, it'll be the alumni of an alum of some picket. I mean, some sort of think of what if T. Boone Pickens was around during the NIL era, right? With the money that he put into, right? I mean, but there's going to be somebody like that, right?
Totally. I always kind of wondered with LeBron, he's a billionaire that didn't go to college. Would he at some point say, "Oh man, I really want Akron College to go make a Final Four run or something like that"?
Why wouldn't he want USC to do it?
Well, there you go. Why not? Yeah, your kid's playing for it. Let's just give him a blank check,
right? He absolutely could.
And he totally could. In some ways, you wonder, is he or should he or
why isn't he?
Why isn't he? Exactly. Yeah, if it's totally legal, help your kid. Get him the best team possible. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's some people who say this is great for college athletics. It's good for the athletes, the top end athletes, right? The guys who are now. Do you think they should spread across the board like A&M does, like BYU does? Every kid makes $30,000, and then if you want to go out and make more, you can. Okay.
I actually sort of liked when they presented that as a kind of a package deal where you had to guarantee 4 years and you had to match that for other sports, and I did like how there was some supplementing of those funds that everyone in the athletic program theoretically should have an advantage or benefit from.
All right, and is your star quarterback getting more? Of course, and he's gonna go get another deal. Or if you're a hot gymnast, and sorry, but reality is reality, right? No, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's
if you've got an attractive gymnast or women's basketball player or
very
or softball
marketable
player,
individual.
yeah, if you've got a marketable and attractive female athlete, I mean, dudes love to look at pretty women, right? Just like women love to look at hot dudes. And that person's got a little swag to her, little personality. I mean, Libby Dunn made bank. The Cavendish sisters made huge money, right? And good for them. Good for them. But so it's good for the student athlete. Is getting away from college athletics. And now what you've got, DC, is you've got conferences and the NCAA, and everybody is so afraid of litigation. You can't put limits. You can't tell them when they can transfer. You can't have a portal. Look, we're having a conversation about the transfer portal. Okay? Should the transfer portal open up the day after bowl announcements, right? Basically run through bowl season. Well, I mean, you can't tell them when they can transfer. I don't know, man. In life, isn't there a window when you got to do everything? Like if you want to register for college, there's a window, right? There's a deadline. If you want to sign up, for register for whatever, there's a window in which you need to pay your taxes. Is there not? Right? There's a deadline. Right. There's a deadline. Like there's a schedule for everything else in sports, but we're afraid to tell student athletes, well, here, you can transfer. Nobody's saying you can't transfer. But we can't tell them, but there's a window? Well, we're taking away their rights. No, we're not. There's parameters, just like there is in everything else in life. Right? There's register to vote. There's a deadline. Got to register X number of days before the election, whatever it is. Your taxes. April 15th, you got to pay your taxes, right? Well, I want to pay my taxes whenever. But now there's a penalty. Why can't there be a window on a transfer portal? Why are we so afraid of it? Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. And creating those parameters is going to be very important because we're sort of in the brave new world of college sports. So we need to create these barriers and these rules and create understanding for how the rules are going to go in effect so that we can have some standardizing of this process, because right now it is just total chaos.
Well, but everybody's flat out afraid of the litigation, right? And here you see the state's attorneys general of Tennessee and Virginia. I mean, that's a lot of resources now are coming after the NCAA, because how dare they institute rules? How dare a governing body try to govern? And that's basically what's going on here, right? And so everybody is so afraid. Well, and the student athlete and the people representing the student athlete even more so are so emboldened and empowered. And look, there's two sides of this, and the student athlete is benefiting, and I get it. But should it just be unlimited? And there's plenty of people who will tell you, yeah, why we don't need rules. Okay. I think, and the word was guardrails, right? That was the catch term, the catchphrase that was being used as this thing was rolled out. But it's interesting, man, and watching back, and this is going to be really interesting to see where this one goes. All right. When we come back, I'll wrap you up. I'll get you everything you need going into which should be a really fun Wednesday, a busy Wednesday, as the Lobos play tonight on the men's side. The Lobos play women on the ladies' side this afternoon or this morning. And this superstar told his haters, "Suck it, haters." Who is he and why? It's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for the Super Bowl.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Boise State tonight in the pit. Lobos have won 5 in a row, averaging over 91 points per game. They are 11.5-point favorites in the pit tonight over the Broncos. 8:30 tip time, 8 o'clock pregame over on News Radio KKOB. JJ is in San Jose, or is that San Jose? That's where the ladies will play the Spartans. That game is at noon on the Sports Animal. You can listen to it here. 11:30 is when JJ will crack the mic with the pregame show from San Jose. What are people going to be talking about as you go through your day? They're going to be talking about what Jerry Jones talked about yesterday. The Cowboys owner talked about, Mike McCarthy's our guy, but he's fallen short. And I like Bill Belichick, and I know I could work with him, and just loved on Bill Belichick. And you're like going, wait a minute, what? So that'll be a big deal. People will be talking about the Super Bowl that's coming up a week from this Sunday that you'll hear on the Sports Animal. The 49ers say that they're tested. They'll be talking about Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, staying with the Lions and passing up on the opportunity to be the Commanders' head coach. Tyrese Halliburton, the star from the Indiana Pacers, calls the league's rule, the NBA, that you have to play 65 games, 3/4 of the games, stupid to be eligible for postseason awards because you got to go to work 3/4 of the days. DC, I'm gonna work 3 days this week, 4 days next week, 3 days. I mean, is that cool? Well, maybe I do that anyway. Well, next week actually only 4, but you know what I'm saying? Will you give me a bonus?
I do. You know, it's funny. In college, we had 4-day weeks. I really enjoyed it, so I can kind of see what he's saying.
Dude, I dig it.
Long season, but yeah, when there's a certain expectation when you sign that contract, and if you don't want your bonus, don't play 65. I mean,
dude, you're getting paid bunch of money. There's an 82 game schedule. Yeah. It's based on an 82. I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
So a real quick update though. I did a little research. It is the Nissan Heisman house, but here's a little bit. Apparently, this house was used as the Wayne Manor from Batman in the 60s.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I did too. I started looking. I was like, that is really awesome, and I hope they chose that. Apparently, it's like 5 minutes from the Rose Bowl. So,
in Pasadena, dude. So, have you ever been in that area in Pasadena by the Rose Bowl?
Not since I was a little kid, so I barely remember.
Yeah, it's old houses. I mean, you know, very beautiful. Every yard meticulously manicured. Landscape. It's a beautiful upscale area with big houses, big lots. Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think they said this one had like 19 acres. So I'm thinking to myself, it's pretty stately, I'm sure.
Stately is a good word for it. Yeah, that's good. All right, fat? No, I guess not. And he ended the video by raising his middle finger and saying, "Suck it, haters." Good for him, man. I mean, like social media is yeah. So good. Yeah. It's social media is the worst place in the world.
It is the most antisocial place in the world.
It's horrible. It is just horrible. And people can say whatever they want. Time program that would allow them to become equity holders in PGA Tour enterprises, and the members would collectively access some of this money. They're doing everything they can on the PGA. Do you feel the PGA Tour is in trouble?
It's sure starting to seem that way. I constantly wonder about their future.
Golf will be there in some form.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The sport's not going away. It's just who's the governing body that we actually follow.
So one of my favorite events is this weekend, and I guess it's going to rain almost the whole time. I love the Pebble Beach event. I watch that. I'll watch Thursday. I love that event. I love Torrey Pines. I watched Torrey Pines last week. A lot of young golfers. A lot of the names, you're like, well, where? Oh, yeah, Rahm's not there anymore. Oh, yeah, Terrell Hatton just left. Like, a lot of the young golfers, the really good ones, have taken the money and gone to Live. Now, I don't know how much Live I will watch. I just don't know. I will watch PGA Tour. I mean, just because you've heard me say this a million times, just because I don't know who you are doesn't mean you're not good. And some of these young golfers were really good. And watching the lap, enjoy the day. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing, and we will smell you tomorrow. All right, dude.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver.
Or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife, and our daughter,